My boyfriend is obsessed with the idea of me losing my virginity to him. I started dating my boyfriend last April and graduated from university last year. My boyfriend, who I met through mutual friends, did not attend college or university. We are both Christians and he is not a virgin. He has made love with a previous girlfriend. When we first met, he told me it was important to him that he date a good Christian girl. Lately he has been making comments to me about taking my virginity, which have been increasing in frequency and intensity. How he will teach me a lot of things, show me how good lovemaking can be, and more graphic stuff that I'd rather not repeat. At this point I think he gets off on the idea. However, I am not a virgin. I participated in hookup culture while at university and had safe lovemaking fairly often with men I met at bars and nightclubs or on Tinder for nearly 4 years. I am almost a different person from who I was at university. I am much more soft-spoken and I dress more conservatively and no longer drink, smoke or do drugs, which I believe has led to my boyfriend having this perception of me. What do I do? Should I let him continue to think I'm a virgin or tell him the truth and potentially ruin our relationship? Update: I met up with my boyfriend the next day since he had the day off and told him that I'm not a virgin, plain and simple. I didn't tell him exactly how many partners I've had, but I did tell him I had made love with a few different people when I was at university and none obviously since we started dating, and that I was too embarrassed and worried to tell him this before because he kept talking about taking my V card and seemed excited about it. He wasn't happy that I kept it from him for so long, which is totally fair, but he said it's okay. The past is the past and it doesn't matter if it's not my first time ever, it'll still be our first time and then that's just as special. I just got too lost in my head about it. I love him a lot and I didn't want to lose him. Not knowing how he might react was driving me a little crazy. He confirmed that the comments were his awkward way of telling me he's ready. He didn't mean to make it weird and was just trying to hype me up. We ended up doing the deed. Everything was great. Fast forward to this past Friday, I confronted him about being kind of distant, not responding to my texts, being weird about making plans for my upcoming birthday. I told him that if he was planning a surprise party to call it off, as I hate surprises. He said he wasn't, so I dropped it. Well, this morning he texted to tell me he didn't want to be together anymore and thinks it would be better if we were friends. I felt like I couldn't breathe and I'm so heartbroken. I've been crying all day, I can barely even move. I wrote this update but I wasn't going to post it since everything had worked out. I guess God had other plans. I think the worst part is that I'm just really lonely now. We shared all our friends and his family became mine since I'm not close with my family. I feel like I have nothing and no one. So thanks I guess to everyone who commented. At least I know I did the right thing by telling the truth. I found out my niece is gay, but I don't know how to help her. My brother and I have been brought up in an extremely conservative and religious household. Our parents were Bible thumpers who punished us severely when we were kids. When I got into college, I managed to get away from them and managed to slowly work out years of conditioning, but my brother did not get out. He still lives near them and has bought into their ideology. My parents hated me when I told them I wasn't coming back. We managed to patch out relationship a bit, but it is still tenuous. My brother has a daughter whom I wasn't allowed to have a proper relationship with, because he considers me a corrupting influence. I've only ever spoken to her when I visit my family once a year. Even though my brother is still religious and conservative, he isn't as controlling and strict as my parents were, so she was allowed to go to college despite the protests from my parents. She goes to college in a city near me, but she was forbidden from visiting me. A few days ago, when I was in that city, I saw her kissing another woman in a cafe. I don't think she saw me. I was shocked when I saw that. My brother would disown her if he found out. I want to help her. She and I don't have a proper relationship, and I don't know what she thinks about me. My husband and I have good careers, so I'm willing to support her even when my family kicks her out. I've managed to convince her to visit me this weekend. Should I tell her I know? How do I help and support her? Update: I contacted a gay friend of mine and told her about my dilemma. She told me that she would help me and suggested that I should talk to my niece and my friend would join us when we went out in the evening. My niece visited me yesterday and she was apprehensive at first. We started talking and she became comfortable talking to me. She told me that my parents tried to poison her opinion of me when she was coming to college, but she didn't trust them. We had a really long conversation and caught up with each other. I subtly told her that she could tell me anything and could rely on me for anything. We went out in the evening and my friend brought her wife with her. We had a great time and my niece finally opened up about her being a lesbian and living in the fear of the wrath of her parents. She was elated when I told her that I would support her whenever she decided to come out and told her she could talk to me about anything. My friend told my niece that she could talk to her if she needed any advice anytime. I'm so happy that I finally have a good relationship with my niece. She is going to visit me every week going forward. My disabled husband told me I can't leave him because no one will want me. He's been a wheelchair user for 2 years. He's also suffering from chronic heart problems and I'm his sole caregiver. I noticed he's been intentionally rude and more needy. I can't complain about the constant demands all day long, and when I say something, he'd accuse me of abusing him and taking advantage of this power imbalance in our marriage. Last night he woke me up in the middle of the night just to ask me to unplug his phone from charging and give it to him. I was upset. I argued with him, complaining about him waking me up. He snapped and told me that this is how it is and I have to deal with it. He also told me I can't leave him or divorce him because no one would want or take me because I'm not physically attractive nor financially doing well nor young. Then went on about how I'll never find someone like him, probably meant his physical features like eyes, hair, etc. This made me break down and cry in the bathroom. He felt stuck and despised and disrespected and unappreciated. I could not imagine he'd say this about me after all that I'd sacrificed in order to take care of him. My boyfriend doesn't want to marry me because I'm an immigrant. I, 29 female, moved to the United States 7 years ago as a grad school student from Indonesia. I met my boyfriend, 30 male, a few months after I moved, and we've been together ever since. My boyfriend is a US citizen. After I graduated, we had a serious discussion about where our relationship was headed. I made it very clear that I wanted to eventually get married and have children. My boyfriend echoed the sentiments. I remember asking him if he saw that happening with me because I didn't want to be in a relationship with no future. He told me he loved me, and that we were definitely headed in that direction. As of last week, we've been dating for 7 years. We've occasionally talked about marriage, but we were both busy with our respective careers, so the timing didn't seem quite right. However, recently my company announced that there's a chance that my department's work will be outsourced. I'm on an H-1B visa, temporary worker, so this means that I need to start looking for a job as soon as possible if I want to continue staying in the US. Last week, during our anniversary, I brought this up. I asked him if he thought it was the right time to think about getting married, as that will also help with sorting out my visa issues. He looked like he was about to vomit. After much prodding, he confessed that he wasn't planning on us getting married before I was able to get a green card, permanent resident, in the US. I was incredibly confused because he'd never mentioned this before. His reason was that he didn't want to be used as a visa mule, his words not mine, by me, and that he wanted to make sure that I married him because I loved him and not because it was a ticket to getting to stay in the US, which can only happen when I get a green card. It took me a while to process what he said, and I asked him if he'd be okay to move to Indonesia with me, which he wasn't. I did not react well and ended up leaving because I couldn't deal with what just happened. I'm still in disbelief. I started dating him because he was the kindest, most thoughtful, and generous man I'd met. I now feel like I wasted 7 years. While the visa issues are certainly a problem, I did not date him with the intention of making him my safety net. I cannot believe that even after nearly a decade together, he doesn't know what kind of person I am. I feel like this relationship is possibly over, and it hurts. It hurts so much.
Tomorrow I'm breaking off my engagement. Last week I, 25 male, found out that my fiancée, 24 female, cheated with her boss. I'm not sure of his age, but he's in his mid-40s. I also know he's married and he has 3 kids. This happened last November on a work trip while out of town. They made love 3 times. How do I know? Well, her boss's wife messaged me on Facebook and told me. She's also provided me with screenshots of texts and emails between them, graphic discussions about how they cheated on us, also how they got over on us and they joke about it. But then she'll tell him in the same text that she loves me, so this can never come out. The boss's wife, who seems very sweet, I've met her at company functions before, is understandably enraged and heartbroken and is having him served with divorce papers tomorrow. She's also going to drop a friendly email to their HR department. So I'm sitting here on my phone typing this and she's across from me on the sofa on the computer planning a honeymoon trip for after a wedding she has no idea is never going to happen. She's completely oblivious to the fact that her life is going to fall apart tomorrow. I don't feel any sympathy at all since mine fell apart last week, and every time I read those texts and emails I feel like someone is impaling my heart. 3 years down the drain, I'm just thankful I found out before we got married. I guess there's that to be thankful for. She has no idea, but I took a vacation day tomorrow. After she leaves for work I'm going to go around my place and collect up all her stuff, box it up and have it sitting by the door. Then I have to figure out if I can get any of the money I've already laid out for the wedding back. It was supposed to happen in October, but yeah, that's not happening. And when she comes home I'm going to throw her out of my apartment and out of my life. I've debated posting all those screenshots on her Facebook page, but my sister talked me out of it. I also debated calling her parents. I feel bad for them as they are such great people and I'm going to miss her family. They've accepted me as one of their own and I don't know what they're going to say, but I've decided that she can explain herself to them. I don't want to hear her excuses or her lies. At this point I just want her out of my life so I can figure out what the hell I'm going to do with the rest of my life. Update. Wow, I cannot believe the response this post has gotten. I can safely say the bomb has dropped. Around 8 or so my phone started going nuts. Calls from her with voicemails after each call. I knew right away what was going on. So I immediately called my sister to tell her that it was happening. She told me to stay strong and if I wanted her to she would come to my place and sit with me, so she's doing that. Then I had a very difficult phone conversation with my ex's mother. Jesus, I can't believe I have an ex now. Difficult because this woman has done nothing to deserve the pain I could hear in her voice. Her whole family has been nothing but accepting of me since day one. I calmly as I could explained the situation to her mother and told her that I can't find it in myself to forgive this and that I'm going to be asking her to move out. Although she was very upset, her mother seemed to understand why I feel this way. She offered as well to come to my place and help my ex get her things. I think this is a pretty good idea. Then I texted a few of my closest friends about this situation. I've been getting bombed with texts from them since, but have said as soon as I can I will talk to them, but right now I'm completely overwhelmed. I listened to one voicemail from my ex and it was what I expected, crying and asking me to call her because we really need to talk. I called her back and she didn't answer, so I started to text her when she called me. Immediately she's telling me how sorry she is. Why did I call her mom? Why did I involve other people? So I lost it and asked how she thinks I feel having to go get tested for STDs because my fiancé cheated on me. Do you know how embarrassing that is? So at least she didn't deny what she did. I told her she needs to come this afternoon and get her stuff out of my place, and that we are finished. She said we'll talk more later, but I cut her off and said there's not a whole lot to talk about, is there? I also asked her how her and this guy could talk shit about me and his wife, like they made fun of her for gaining weight after having 3 kids. This poor woman didn't deserve this. I didn't deserve this. I also said something to her about not trying to say she felt pressured because the guy is her boss. Her texts show clearly that she was a more than willing participant in all this. I guess she's got to meet with HR at work today and the whole place is gossiping about the two of them. I can't feel sorry for either of them at this point. I'm already emotionally drained and it's not even 10 a.m. where I'm at. So once she's done with her HR meeting, I guess she's going to come here and get her stuff. I'm hoping it goes without much drama. My sister should be here and I hope her mom comes with her. My landlord also says she'll be around and she's also going to have my locks changed hopefully either this afternoon or tomorrow. I know this is like a long babbling post, but I was trying to remember a lot of things I said and my mind is raving right now. Today I messed up by photoshopping my boss's face onto his entire family and sending it to my work chat. Obligatory, this happened last year. I luckily have a new job. It was Father's Day 2022. My boss on my team of 10 sends a photo of his entire family including his 3 baby grandchildren, 3 kids, their spouses, his daughter doesn't have a spouse, and his wife. My boss is not a good-looking man, the face only a blind mother could love. Unfortunately for his family, especially the female offspring, his genes are strong as F. I also hate my boss with a passion. His partner / my other boss that I had a good relationship with was just forced to retire the previous month. He had also just brought his lazy son who is about my age onto the team and I was taken out of all client interaction because his son needed exposure. His son regularly fapped in the work bathroom with people sitting next to him, but that's another story. I luckily had one really good work friend on my team who also hated my boss, but he was higher up and didn't really need to deal with him as much. As this work group chat is going off, we are just ripping into his family. We were both pretty tipsy because F it. It's Father's Day and we're not fathers. This entire time we were joking like how crazy would it be if we accidentally sent to the wrong chat. I was laughing at him like he would be a dummy to send to the wrong chat. I had a eureka moment. I'm pretty good with face in the hole and use it often for funny memes. I face in the hole his hideous face onto his entire family except for his daughter. This included his 2 sons, 3 granddaughters, his wife and 2 daughter-in-laws. I made this thing a masterpiece. I was using tone, contrast, switched angles to match everything. It was the Mona Lisa of effed up face in hole. The best part is you couldn't even tell that his daughters wasn't face in the hole and that his granddaughters were photoshopped. In pure excitement of this masterpiece I saved it and immediately sent it to my buddy waiting for my glorious applause. As I sent it, all of a sudden a text notification at the top comes up from my work buddy that says WTF? It took me a second to register that I just sent that to my entire team. I hadn't said anything in the group chat at all up to this point. My first message was this picture that had multiple layers of effed up. I literally jump up from the couch and throw my phone against the couch saying oh no oh no oh no and start profusely sweating and pacing frantically in the living room. My fight or flight response kicked in and I wanted to run like Forrest Gump. My wife freaks out thinking I just found out I had cancer or something and I told her what happened. She had no idea the messed up crap we were sending. She had just heard me giggling like a little schoolgirl across from the couch. She immediately tries to calm me down saying it's probably not that bad. I show her the picture and her jaw drops. Okay, we need to think of something. I call my buddy who is laughing hysterically at my stupidity and I'm like, you need to bombard the chat so hopefully he doesn't see it. He starts sending messages and asks people how their Father's Day was to get more interaction as I am just panicking / sweating / contemplating quitting before I could get fired. My wife ends up having a genius plan by telling me to text Happy Father's Day boss's name to you and your mini-me's, which I thought was genius, but I sent it like 15 minutes and 20 messages later, so it was random at that point and maybe put more attention to it. My buddy tells me her other coworker texted him on the side, WTF did baby boy blue just send? Is he trying to get fired? Also, why was our boss's daughter the only one not photoshopped? It was like 9 p.m. at this point and my wife is trying to console me, but I could tell she was worried too. Like maybe your boss didn't see that photo where you photoshopped his hideous face onto his entire family including his baby granddaughters. I couldn't sleep at all that night. I just rolled around sweating thinking about what in the world I'm going to say to him and explain myself. Do I come up to him first and apologize? Do I wait and pray that he didn't see it? I went through every possible scenario in my head and they all sucked. Oops, I accidentally slipped and photoshopped your face on your entire family and then sent it to the group chat. I get ready for work early because I legit couldn't sleep. It felt like a prisoner on death row making his last walk, but I didn't get a tasty last meal because I felt like I was going to vomit. I'm the first one in the office and I'm pretending to work and trying to play it cool. Our assistants come in and I'm thinking alright, be sharp here and act like nothing happened. They say nothing about it, like they didn't see me insult our boss's entire family via a masterpiece face in the hole. I'm starting to calm down thinking no one saw it. Then my work buddy comes in and he's just dying laughing, which brings my anxiety up. He can see me from his office, so every time a new coworker comes in his eyes get wide like oh crap, here it comes, as he's chuckling. No one says anything. Then the moment of truth comes and my large hideous boss walks in with his large hideous son. I start sweating again. He just walks by me and says nothing. No hi, no good morning, just nothing. Okay, kinda weird for him but not bad. I'm watching his every move like I'm some psychoanalyst trying to read a serial unaliver's body language. Nothing happens and I'm convincing myself he didn't see. Maybe my face in the hole was so good that he thought I just sent the original photo back. 12 p.m. comes by and he comes up to me and says, "Baby boy blue, wanna grab some lunch?" I'm good, not hungry, I had a big breakfast. Well, walk with me across the street to get food. Alright, I guess. The time had come. I didn't get away easily. As we were walking out, my buddy Army saluted me like it was the last time he would see me. He starts with small talk and I can barely answer because I'm just thinking how I would come up with an excuse. I have to wait for this guy to get his dumb salad bar as I'm starting to sweat again. I look like a walking food violation because the sweat was coming through my work shirt. We walk back and he's asking about my career aspirations and all these things. This guy did not mention it the entire time. He was just 100% mind effing me and it worked. It was honestly worse than if he had just called it out. I got back to work and I was safe. No one else on the team mentioned it again. My buddy would always randomly send me the photo while working just to mess with me. I ended up quitting about 6 months later for a much better job. Thinking about sending it to that chat again next Father's Day as an FU.